is society like this?
I don't understand. It's like this is from the people who are like, speech is violence, but violence isn't violence.
I know. Yeah, exactly. You can loot
and
a
so
building.
somehow jokes are the things that are making people more violent, not just people being violent.
It's just bizarre too how I think what makes me laugh about this article in particular, because obviously it's, you know, it's covering an EU report. What's so funny is I don't know if people in the European Union actually have a sense of humor. So it's like,
That's
okay.
They do.
They used to. There you go. There's Pepe on the screen, and then we've got Doge or Dogi or however people
Why do
pronounce
they have
it.
Pepe in an SS helmet? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. It was like, here's the joke. The joke is a frog that's a Nazi. It's like, you guys are so far off of right-wing humor. First of all, being far right is not like a negative thing. Like, being far right doesn't necessarily, they always tie that to like fascism or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, being far right literally just means that you pretty much like believe in traditional families and you believe in like a gender balanced society, etc. Like, this is actually a pretty epic way to view the world in terms of what they are. Now, they're obviously mean like extremism. They're trying to tie it to extremism, which is different. Obviously, extremism can be a problem. And I got to say this. I don't know anything about a lot about extremism, but I can tell you that last time I checked that extremism was not identified mostly by people making jokes. Like, I don't understand where anybody was threatened by a joke before until 2021.
Well, according to this article,
No, they were offended before that.
The most potent weapon.
They've been bitches for a long time.
The most potent weapon known to mankind are satire and ridicule, according to this EU thing. Satire and ridicule, the most potent weapon.
We should ridicule them.
I thought that Agent
weapons.
Orange was a really potent weapon, or nuclear
Satire
bombs.
and ridicule are used to tear down power structures and make fun of the powerful.
Yeah,
they're used to ridicule the leaders, the politicians.
Mm-hmm.
They've historically been tools of throwing off the yokes of oppression. You know, to act like these are things that people are using to oppress people is just. And historically, this is somehow what comedy and humor has been used for. I cannot take it seriously.
I think what's most amusing having you in studio is you're obviously a very funny human being. So then, I mean, what makes me laugh is obviously you use humor to communicate a lot of your ideas, I would say. And then you would fall into this bucket of far right.
Oh, I'm not kidding. I have been called all these names since like 2015. And at first it was upsetting.
Yeah.
And there were definitely moments because I don't want to hurt populations. I don't want to, but when you start, I can't be responsible for every single person interpreting every single thing that I might joke about. It's like what's that quote? Like what they think of me is none of my business. I can't, and you're not responsible for hurting every single person if you're joking about something. And I also think it's kind of condescending to act like you can't joke about certain people. Where I come from, which is the East Coast, you roast people and it's all like, that's the level playing field. There's no person who's like a special person that doesn't get roasted. That actually means you feel sorry for them, and pity is like the worst form. It's, I would rather be mocked than pitied.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think these people also are just incapable of laughing at themselves,
right?
Which is a sign of being like a funny person. Thus, they take everything literally.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday, how I think when you work in a public space and people have a free-for-all and, having any opinion about you, making things up that you do and say, attacking you whenever they feel like it, you do get to a point where you just sit back and giggle because you're like, well, I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm not going to get upset about it. The only way to really respond to the situation is to see the humor in it and to laugh. I mean, provided it's not like murdering your family. Obviously, that's what this is.
It's so interesting because they say that, time plus tragedy equals comedy, but in this very accelerated world, we've lost the time out of that equation. And so there are things where you're like, ooh, comedians are racing to make a joke and it might feel like inappropriate because that line has been erased.
Right.
But on the other hand, I don't think that we should be so precious. Life is, I don't know, I've just been through too much shit. And I've had to laugh through it. I've been in horrible, horrible situations where I've had to try. I was in rehab at 19 and I was always trying to make jokes and make people laugh because it was just a terrible situation for people to be in. And some of the funniest humor is dark humor. You know, some of it, the funniest humor is like gallows humor when you're facing horrible tragedies. How you've got to be able to laugh at life and how absurd it is.